Well, the snow was disappearing, but guess we're not done with it yet. Can you tell I need to get groceries today? This is my breakfast. 3 sausages. No eggs, no bread, no yogurt. 3 sausages, that's my breakfast. Back from town. Fridge has some things in it again. I've been kind of lazy with food lately. I don't know about lazy. I think it's just my oven has issues. Usually when I'm off, I'm running around doing projects. By the time supper time hits, I'm already hungry and I don't want to take another half hour to an hour to prepare something, so I just eat something fast and easy. And I've been on this kick for a little while and it's not good. It really isn't good. That's where we're at for right now. And then when the summertime comes, I stop wanting to cook in here because it gets hot in here and my AC isn't working because it just never did work since I got this trailer. Yeah, so I end up barbecuing outside a lot come summer. Sometime soon I would love to get back into the routine of cooking good, healthy meals again. But right now I'm on go mode and it's just eat something that's fast and convenient. Obviously the sun did come out. At one point, yesterday I guess it would have been, there was hardly any snow because we had some good rain, and before that several days of really nice warm temperatures and sunshine. But yeah, now we're back to this, hopefully not for much longer. Alright, got the diesel heater going in here. Trying to keep it warm because I need to get some spray foam in some of these larger gaps in the insulation. There's only a couple of spots, but I definitely need to fill them. Okay, I just shut down the diesel heater. Spray foamed all these little cracks that had like kind of wide gaps in them. I let it dry for like more than an hour and came in and cut them flush. I'm gonna tape up all these seams. All the seams here are covered up, just kind of a vapor barrier, I guess. So now the next part is to create some type of a wall. I'm going to keep it above this board here, above the door, because the bed is going to be coming off of that 2x4, I think. So the wall that will be going here, just got to keep it above there, basically. Oh, my light is dying. Gotta go. I ended up getting my pine boards here. They came in a pack of 6 and tongue and groove, just some real thin stuff. But you really have to look over these because some of them are damaged. I got the best ones I could find. I'm sure I'll still find some damaged ones in here, but I got extra in hopes that there won't be too many damaged ones. So last night I measured basically from one end of my framing to the other. I believe it was 88 inches. And I'm just going to take these boards maybe an inch past the end of the framing on both sides. Eventually I'm going to have a small wooden spacer here on all these studs, and then a wall on the other side of that. The wall over here is going to meet up with this wall here. The boards are 8 feet. So, yeah, I believe I'm gonna cut them to about 90 or 91 inches. We'll see. I want to stain the boards, and I got a stain and polyurethane all in one, so hopefully it'll give it a little color and a little shine. Initially, I thought that I would sand them all, stain them all before I put them up on the wall, but to be honest with you, that's gonna be very time consuming. At this point, I think I might just stain them when they're up on the wall. I was a little worried that the stain was gonna run over the screws and cause runs in the boards, but I don't know. Where's my utility knife? Snow everywhere, wet floors. I have no idea if I said anything about these boards, but they are pine paneling, and I've got 8-foot lengths here. They're 5/16, so they're pretty skinny, which is what I wanted. And I'm gonna cut them to 90 inches. You can see here this part is damaged, but this part is going to be going into the groove of another board. So here at the end, I don't think you're even going to see that. But this is the type of problem you're gonna run into with some of these boards because they're thin, cheap pine, and, well, I say cheap, nothing's cheap. Nothing's cheap price-wise. Oh yeah, we've definitely got a steady stream. That sun is doing its job, baby. Okay, so I've got this measured out to 90 inches. I think what I'm gonna do is just cut the end off of it, and then I'm going to have to measure exactly where it's gonna go here. Get the first one screwed into the wall. Yeah, I'm just going to use some trim screws, I think, for these so that if I ever need to, I can remove them. Once that's done, we'll see how it goes with the rest of them. Also, I'm going to be sanding it a bit with a sanding block on the outside too for the stain. I'm just seeing if this is going to be the length I want. Like I said, I want it going just about past my framing on here. And obviously I'm going to need to measure from the floor up to see where to lay the first board, and then I'm going to do every one on top of it. This is the length I'm going to want all of them. Good to know. I mentioned I want to keep above this board here because I'm going to be extending the bed here. You're not even going to see, this board is going to be above the tape and all that, but you're not going to see that in the end, so have some vision, okay? Have some vision. Thank you. Okay, one package, 6 boards. They are cut to fit and sanded. I use 220 grit block sandpaper. I'm gonna measure from the floor up to find out exactly where to plant this board because, well, because you just never know. And since I'm doing this alone, this is all I have to work with, but it should still somewhat work. I know this looks crooked, but just try to trust me. It's actually this board that's crooked, I think. I do realize that from a distance it looks like it's crooked and it's slanted down like this. But trust me, this board above the door is actually the crooked one. And once these all get put into place, I think you'll see it a bit better. I have screws through this 2x4 here, and I want to keep to the side of them because I think I'm going to be putting a trim screw in on either side and then right here in the center. And that should be plenty, I would think. We got one trim screw in. There's a start. I'm trying to keep it flush with the board too. Those go in really nice, actually. Nice. I don't even know if I'm gonna need to pre-drill, actually. Those seem to go in good, so try a few more, see if I can't crack a board. I feel like I don't want to force it. I feel like I might need to back the screws out of the wall just a little bit and then put it down. There we go. Okay. Maybe I should be putting them all on first and then putting my screws in. I don't know. Oh, did I just crack that? Damn. Ooh. This is not the best piece to work with. Whoa. Okay, yell at me in the comments because my camera died, or my battery, sorry, died. Same old, same old. Let me show you something here. Okay, I'm having trouble with some of these because, can you see that? This stuff is so thin and brittle that a lot of these tongue parts of the board, I mean, I could pretty much break them in places. That's not bad, but this right here is pretty much like broken. Now, I'm not worrying about it too much because I'm still securing it with screws. So I just have to struggle in the meantime to get this broken piece into the groove of the next board and so on. I have found that a few times with these boards. Like I said, they're thin. I'd love to say that they're cheap, but nothing is cheap cost-wise. It's not like they were cheap to buy. A pack of 6 of these, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, like 33 something. So not the cheapest. However, I am quickly seeing that I'm not going to need all 3 packs, so I should be able to take one back. This leftover part up here isn't even going to take a full second pack. I plant the screws in after I have the board fitted, and then I put the screws in. I haven't been pre-drilling and it's been okay, just because I didn't want to waste more time. So I will plant the screws in this one here, and then tomorrow we'll get back to it and see if I can fit a board over this one, and if not, well, I've got lots of extra. I know, man, the sun's out. I'm shocked too. You just hopped right up there and chose to set right in it, eh? Can't say, oh my gosh, can't even see you. Can't say I blame you. What'd you think? Oh, wow. It was like looked like a snake mouth. The sun officially decided to show itself. The sun came out today, and it brought the temperature up with it a little bit. It's about 4 degrees Celsius. Actually, it's getting warmer as we speak. It's 5 degrees outside now, 19 in here, so we're good. Now, if all this stuff would disappear, your girl would be happy. Yeah. Does anybody else find that the sunshine plays a major role in their mood? Because I feel pretty good right now. I feel pretty good that spring might be arriving soon-ish. Take a look in here. Fling this wide open. I have no idea where I left off in here last night. I didn't get started doing this until supper time. Oh my gosh, do you hear the snow? This one obviously isn't screwed to the wall because I do find it easier to go ahead and put the next board on before screwing the previous one down into the frame. As you can tell, if my camera focuses, I'm not going to need a full 6 for the remaining part of the wall, which means I'm going to be left with another package here that I won't be using. I thought about returning it. Now I'm thinking I don't want to return it because I might use it for something else. I do love the pine board look, so I'd like to incorporate more of that somewhere else in here, even if it's cupboard doors or something. I don't think I mentioned, but I did end up putting a second layer of this insulation here in the corner. So at least in the corners now we have a full inch, and I did go along all on the inside of my frame here with some spray foam, and on this side as well. Had to trim it down flush with the frame so that when I'm putting my boards up, you know, it's got the space for it. Started to veer off on my screws in the boards here last night. I guess I was getting tired. That doesn't bother me. I'm not a perfectionist. It's just going to be a reminder that that's something I did, and nobody's perfect. Let's go ahead and finish this off. I think I showed you this last night maybe, but these pine board tongue and groove, it's real thin. So there are spots where you've got pieces like this that are troublesome. But like I said, as long as your groove goes over them, they're getting screwed to the wall anyway. So that will be hidden. I do have a miter saw, but honestly, it's just a small chunk off the end I'm taking off. It's honestly just as quick and easy for me to use this. I'm not worried about super straight cuts or straight lines because like I said, the edge of this is always in the same spot and it goes past the frame, and then the next wall will butt up next to it on the inside of this cut. So that's why I'm using a measuring tape to draw my line. The cut doesn't have to be perfect. These boards are smooth on one side and rough on the other side naturally anyway. So obviously the rough side goes against the wall. But the reason I'm sanding them, even though they are already kind of sanded, I'm just doing a quick sand on them because a can of stain and polyurethane says that that they should be sanded before it goes on them. Like I said, they are already smooth, but I just did a quick sanding just because with some 220 grit. I really like the pattern on this board and I wanted to use it, but you can tell by looking at it, it's got a curve in it, and I lined it up with the others and it has a very obvious curve. So I can't use that one for this anyway. Okay, we're ready to get the last 4 or 5 or 4.5 boards up here until we get to the top of this frame. And then we do the staining process. Whoop! I have to remember that this is the one with the broken tongue. So It's not screwed down either, so if need be, I could always remove it and put another piece here. But this isn't wanting to go over this broken part very easily. There we go. See, when it does though, it's lifted up at this end over here. So I managed to get the groove over the tongue of this board in the center where it was kind of broken a little bit, but then it curves up. Sorry, I moved the camera really fast there. But then it curves up over on this side. So when I screw this board down, I just need to make sure I'm pushing down on it. Maybe it's another curved board, I don't know. By the way, my finished screws, I couldn't get anything smaller than 2" where I was. Maybe you can get them smaller other places, but they're quite excessive for such a thin board. But I'm just drilling them in through the frame anyway, so it's fine. But yeah, had to go with the 2" with these. Looks like we're going to be down to the last 2 or so. I'm going to take out my thumbtacks from my string lights I had hung here when I spent the night in here. Those are kind of in the way, aren't they? Not on there. You think tongue and groove would be so easy, but I don't know. I think it's how thin these boards are, man. They just flex on you when you're trying to put them together. Oh, there's another thumbtack. I might need to trim the top board, but we'll see. Kind of seems like it might just be a little too wide for that. Oh shoot, I went way off of that screw. Oh, that's okay. No one's gonna see it but me, right? Oh, that was so weird. Ever use a drill with your... Where I lost it again. Ever use a drill with your opposite hand? It's freaking weird, man. I feel like I can tell by looking. This top board, I'm gonna have to trim down the top board with a table saw, I believe, because I don't want it going much up over this frame, because I want to be able to access marker lights. Forgot the name of them for a second. This one needs to be replaced because it's out. So, I mean, I could remove these completely and then fill all this in and not worry about them, but I'm just really undecided at this point. I might leave them and use them. And so my dad and I were talking about having a caddy-cornered kind of thing that drops down for us, like a panel, to access the wiring and stuff on the marker lights. So I'm undecided about what to do up here. If you have any suggestions, feel free to drop them below. But unless I just remove them completely and fill them, that's the idea I'm going with, just to kind of have like a caddy-cornered little drop-down thing to access the wiring and the lights. But I'm open to suggestions because it still makes it difficult for knowing what I should do up there with insulation. I like it so far. It's looking good. I love that pine look. I really do. Like I said, I think I'll incorporate it more, but at least I will have my pine wall by the bed. It'll be like I'm sleeping in a cabin, baby. I'm hoping that's enough. I took a little over an inch. Oh, okay, well, there you go. Okay, so once that's pushed down and in place, that's perfect. It's just right at the top of my frame. So I'm glad I didn't take any more of that off. Sink a few screws in and we're ready for some stain. How am I lined up? Good. Okay. Did I do this? There we go, we're done. Oh my gosh, we're done. And I'm going with this Minwax Poly Shades. It's a stain and polyurethane in one. Went with a classic oak. I tried to keep it on the lighter side. I just didn't want to go too dark in here. Small spaces, dark colors, you know. I'm gonna have to fire on the diesel heater for this. Got a little thirsty. So I was going to stain each board individually. Not only would it be very tedious, but also if you know, accidentally load your tongue or groove parts of your board with stain, it might thicken it and then they might not fit in as easily. And obviously, as you saw, they didn't fit in that easily anyway. So I figured, you know what, I'll just go ahead and install them and then stain them. But I'm going to be very careful going around all the screw heads because I don't want to fill the screw heads with stain and not be able to fit the bit inside and remove them and whatnot. So I'll just have to be very careful around those, and everything else should go smooth as pie. Don't cheap out on your brushes because you end up with bristles in your paint or stain, and that's never a good thing. Well, I suck. I thought I was hitting record, but apparently I wasn't. I got this half right here on this side from basically the screws in the middle over done. And it seems like you can tell there's an obvious difference. I think it's mostly just wet wood to dry wood, but not too shabby. I know it's kind of hard to see. I'm just gonna check it over real close with some light for any runs. Other than that, the first coat is on there and we need to let that dry before I can do a second coat, which isn't gonna happen today. It says to leave this go 6 hours between coats. So that would take us into, I don't know, 9 o'clock tonight. And not doing it then, have to work the next couple of days. So I'll have to hop back into it on my next days off and hopefully finish another coat or two, and hopefully it'll look a lot different than it does now. Good, merry, very next day. And look at that! I open my door and the first thing I see is just a small pile of snow and another small pile of snow, minus a few small clumps of it, a little bit of ice. She gone! Bye, bitch! Yeah, we recently had a crazy wind and rainstorm. Obviously the rain took care of most of the snow. Now the problem being part of the province is flooded, but most of the snow is gone, so. Mother Nature's not done yet! Okay, now I know you see that. That's... yeah, okay. 3 coats in. Probably doesn't look that different to you guys than it did when it first went up. But there is a little bit of difference now. It does have 3 coats of stain / polyurethane. I'm hoping the lighting is going to allow you to see a difference, but this little offcut piece here is what the wood looked like pre-staining, and surrounding is what it looks like post-staining. Not a crazy significant difference, but there is a difference. I'm happy with it for the most part. There was another color there that I was trying to decide between. The one I chose, which I think was classic oak, and some sort of pecan, tomato, pecan color. It was slightly darker, and now I realize probably could have went with that and it would have been fine. I just didn't want to go too dark. Also, as you can tell, it doesn't have a lot of shine, which I thought that I would get because I went with a stain and polyurethane in one. However, I later realized why there might not be much of a shine, and that is because I went with a satin instead of a gloss or semi-gloss. I guess if I want to in the future, I could always put a clear coat on this and give it some gloss, but now I'm kind of stuck between wondering if it's a good idea or not. Giving it a shine also means that there might be a lot of light reflection off of that wall, which I don't know if I really want. So feel free to chime in the comments below. Let me know what you think. I kind of like that it's dull now that it's like this, but at first I did want to have that glossy kind of shine. But yeah, I'm happy with it. I'm happy with how it turned out. It was a fun little project. If you might be wondering why this bottom part is not done, it's because you're not going to see it. My bed is literally going to be right under that first board there. And this stuff down here, you're not even going to see. There's going to be something in front of that. There's going to be something over there in front of that. And it won't be seen. I pretty much had this diesel heater running all day yesterday. And as you can see, I need to fill it up a little bit. It was half full and it used that much diesel. She needs a refill. She's thirsty. I think that's going to be it for this one. I know this one's a little bit later than usual. I do apologize. Thank you for your patience. It's going to happen sometimes when you're working full-time and trying to do YouTube. It's not always easy to get a video posted every single week without a major lack of sleep. Ask anyone who does it or has done it. It's not as easy as you might think. So I do apologize for the lateness of this video, but I think that is going to be it from me here. As always, thank you for watching. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Did you guys hear that? That's the American woodcock. He comes back every spring, so you know what that means. I'm officially excited. I know there's snow in the ground and it's still cold, but I just heard the American woodcock. That means spring is on the way, people. I'm excited. Time to go to bed. Okay, good night.